Well, we spent a fair amount of time on the program talking about Donald Trump not only bringing these allegations or reviving these allegations about Bill Clinton's sexual misconduct with various women when he was president and before he was president, but also going there in terms of bringing up the 1993 death of Vince Foster, close confidant of Hillary Clinton, former White House deputy counsel, and 5 investigations found that his death was a suicide. Heard from a lot of you. Some of you are still entertaining what I consider to be conspiracy theories about Foster's death and the way that we have covered it and whether it is fair game or not for Trump to bring it up. One of the emails from Edwin Bowers in Florida. And Edwin writes, first of all, the reporter, this is a reporter for the Washington Post, prodded Mr. Trump about the Foster affair. Granted, Mr. Trump could have demurred, but the reporter knew he'd never do that. So the reporter knew his question and Mr. Trump's response would make headlines. And the reporter instigated the news should be pointed out. Second, granted, Mr. Foster committed suicide and 5 panels have certified same, but a leading conspiratorial question could well be, why did he commit suicide? Because of what he knew about the Clintons and the pressure they were putting on him to stay silent, contravening Mr. Foster's sense of conscience, that is, said he had a lot of. Okay, couple of thoughts on this. First of all, reporters can bring up any questions they want. Politicians don't have to take the bait. For example, Trump has been asked repeatedly during this campaign, what about those charges you made about President Obama and his birth certificate back in 2011? And repeatedly, Trump has said, I don't talk about that anymore. I have moved on. And therefore, he has generated few headlines on that. So there is, every candidate, every politician has the ability, no matter what the press asks, the question may be fair, unfair, leading question, a question designed to produce headlines, as you say. Politician doesn't have to go there. And by the way, after that Washington Post interview, Donald Trump brought up the Vince Foster matter a couple of times subsequent to that, at least at one point in a rally, speaking to a group of supporters. Secondly, on this question of, yes, 5 different investigations, including one by the former special prosecutor Ken Starr, who certainly had no love for the Clintons, ruled that this was a suicide. And what a lot of people don't know or forgot or don't care to know is that Vince Foster left a suicide note. He was said by his family to have been depressed about the criticism he was getting as an Arkansas guy who came to Washington. And he attacked in that suicide note the editors of the Wall Street Journal who he felt were lying about him. And the last line of that suicide note was very haunting. He said, I don't really fit in Washington where ruining people is considered sport. So, my position on this is very simple. There are certain things where we don't know the facts. Hillary Clinton's email, for example, or where investigators haven't been able to get at the facts. This happened 23 years ago. And Ken Starr and a bunch of other investigations looked at the body and the evidence and all of that. They ruled that it was a suicide. Donald Trump can bring it up if he wants. The media have to decide how much attention to give it and whether or not Trump should be accused or criticized for reopening an investigation that seemed to be closed and that really was found by all of these investigators who looked at it to be a suicide. And so that's my response. People can still have questions about what Vince Foster did because they don't like the Clintons and they think the Clintons were somehow involved, but there is no evidence of that.